our streets are safe.
Indeed, thank you very much. And actually, this is a subject which we are staying with now. With 29 violent deaths in the capital already this year, many of them stabbings like the one we've just been hearing about, knife crime continues to be a huge concern for many Londoners. Overnight, another teenager was stabbed and killed in northwest London, and for many parents, it's a worry that has become almost unbearable. We sent Luke Hanrahan to some of the places most affected to speak to people about the steps they're taking to try and protect their children.
This is the notorious Brandon Estate in Southwark, a place where knife crime is out of control. Peter Bafford, who lives here with his family, points out to me the places people have been fatally stabbed and shot.
Up there, that hill there, the boy living in that building in between there, he got shot in the head right there. I know him.
Something he blames in part on government cuts.
What is the government doing? What are they doing exactly? Now you're taking Kennington Police Station away. You're taking Camberwell one away. Peckham Police Station has already been removed. What security have they got? Good. That's right.
Peter's a volunteer football coach. Practice isn't paid for by the council. The parents in this community bought the footballs.
Me and my partner, we both work, trying our best to try and get out of here, basically, and anywhere out of London is good.
And Peter, who arrived from Ghana 16 years ago, says he'll move back to West Africa to protect his children.
That's my daughter there. She's 8. I'm planning, maybe when she's 10, 12, I'll send her back home. I have to follow her every second, everywhere she goes, apart from school.
Across London, serious youth violence increased by 10% in 2018.
It was a shock. Like, you didn't really feel it. You don't feel it straight away when you get stabbed. Do you know what I mean? You feel it afterwards. But where I got stabbed was like just underneath the...
Tino Kamal is a musician. He was attacked last year. He now wears a stab vest wherever he goes. Still suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, he sings and raps about the difficulties young people face when trying to escape violence.
Run away, that's what I feel like, but I can't run away.
His recent music video illustrates the scars knives leave behind. It's a week since Tino's friend was killed here in Fulham, becoming the 18th victim in 2019.
It was sad, very sad. I phoned him an hour before he died. That's how mad it is. I was literally on the phone to him an hour before he died. So, yeah, it was crazy. Until someone close to you, someone you've like ate with, been in their parents' house with, it's different. It's a different kind of feeling.
In Battersea, another estate where murder is all too familiar. Denzel Stewart, who lives here, says he understands why so many of his contemporaries are sucked into crime.
I've got drug charges that I've gone to court and I haven't gone to jail for because the judge seen that I've just gone down the wrong path. You can make a lot of money out of drug dealing. It's an easy way out for the young people, but I just feel like if they do know the right path to go down, they will take it.
There is nothing, there's nowhere for kids to go. This problem's been a long time in the making, and sadly it's a long time in the fixing. I mean, I'd love to just go, more cops or, whatever. I don't think there's one fix. It's a slow process.
Up the road in Battersea at Carney's boxing gym, they run a youth group supported by the charity WBC Cares as part of a project for youths at risk. In 2 years, they've lost 6 members to knife crime. This boxing club doesn't receive a penny from the government, but it's clearly making a big difference to these young people's lives. Increasingly, though, they say they're picking up the slack for the state.
Even things like NHS, mental health issues, we're having to now provide things that we're not expertly trained at because those resources aren't out in the communities at the moment because there's been so many cuts and they're just not available.
The sad truth is that many of these teenagers have been affected by knife crime or the threat of it. The pressure is now on politicians to find the solutions.
And Maurice McLeod, who we saw in the film there, joins us now. Maurice is a social commentator and also a Labour councillor in Wandsworth. Thanks for coming in. It doesn't cease to be shocking, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's been going on for a long time. It's still going on. It's heartbreaking.
And we hear a lot of discussion about the different factors involved and why we may have arrived at this point. But in your view, what needs to be happening now?
Oh, and it's a hard one because we all want immediate fixes. These horrible tragedies happen that tear communities apart, and we want something to happen straight away. But as has been said, this has been generations in the making. You're not going to fix this immediately. You need to have a holistic approach that looks at policing, but also looks at community resources, looks at job opportunities. There's so much that needs to be put into fixing this.
Right, Andrew. At the root of this, really, we are talking about it's been going on for a long time, but we are hearing in the film from Peter, one of the interviewees, about how police stations are closing. We're hearing about how services are being cut. Things are very, very difficult. Fundamentally, does this not come down to 9 years of austerity and all the services being scaled further and further back, and now this is what we've got as a result?
Well, as everyone has agreed, there is no quick fix to this. But of course...
But it doesn't help, does it? Resources are required.
Yeah, if you cut resources in any public service, clearly it doesn't mean it's going to get better. It's likely to mean it will get worse. And whilst I think that all public services have to be efficient in the way they spend money, because some were overbloated and they had to reduce and find more effective ways of spending money, all councils have had to do the same. I do think that in terms of policing, we've reached the absolute bare bone. We need to stop making any further cuts and, in fact, increase more money into policing, particularly in London. The Chancellor has allocated another 100 million in his spring statement 2 weeks ago, but frankly, I don't think that's enough. I want to see a lot more, particularly in the London area.
Okay, let's go back to that then, Maurice. In your view, does an increase in resources for the police, does that help with this?
Well, it doesn't hurt. I really don't think you can police your way out of this problem. The police part is the very end of the issue. That's dealing with the symptoms. And yes, we can flood the estates in inner London with police if we had those sorts of resources, and things might calm down for a bit. But that's not a sustainable way of dealing with it. People need to feel like they've got some future. They need to feel like there's something for them. There's some hope to their existence.
And is that the root of it? People feeling completely like there is no other option? We hear regularly from young people who say, well, I carry a knife because I'm scared.
Yeah, I mean, again, the carry a knife because of scared thing happens. But when you've got a generation of young people who are looking at their parents and seeing their parents haven't had their wages increased for 10 years, so they're seeing services crushed. They're seeing the community groups that they would normally go to. There's a community centre in my ward that looks after 3,500 residents fast on the Patmore estate. It's struggling for funding.
Yeah, and yet I can hear people at home sort of shouting at the screen and saying, look, there have always been people who've been on the poverty line. There have always been people, the haves and the have-nots. They haven't necessarily gone around hurting other people, stabbing other people. Why this and why now?
Well, to be honest, there has always been violence.
But not at this level, for kind of more than this number of stabbings for more than about 60 years.
Yeah. But we're at the end, as you say, we're at the end of 10 years of austerity, the end of 10 years of squeezing local authorities and trying to get people to do more with less. You can't keep doing that, and there ends up being a result, and I'm afraid this is the result.
Siobhan.
I just think anybody who thinks there's one solution to this isn't going to get the answer. Yes, more police would be good. Back in 2010, I had a police officer in every single secondary school in my constituency. Now there are none. When there are cuts, the youth service gets cut first, because you always want to keep your schools going and keep the teachers in front of the classes, and these are some of the choices. So we've got all these things going on. We've got people's wages not keeping up, people's aspirations, together with a development in the kind of the drug industry, of county lines, of going for ever younger children because they're less likely to be found. And then you also have social media and the ability that gives to people to organise, and the ways of life that presents. So this is a multi-layered thing. And could I just give a quick plug for my event on the 4th of April, Elizabeth?
Can we get this on camera? Can we see this?
Great. Because I just think I just think
Which camera
that
are we
being
going
a
for?
parent of a child in London right now, particularly a son, is a really scary thing. So I just wanted to organise an event about how to keep your children safe online and from gang and knife crime. This won't sort it out, but at least I could bring together the people that might be able to give parents advice, because I get mums coming to me just saying, how do I keep my boy safe?
Yeah, and finally, just a quick point from you, Andrew, because we heard in the film from mothers in London, in central London, saying they're absolutely terrified. You're sort of on the edge of London.
Nowhere is safe.
Yeah.
Well, following Jodie's murder, a community group in my area has been established. They're called Take a Knife, Save a Life. And they're parents and local people who are going out, patrolling the parks and the streets, not in an aggressive way, but in a way where they're talking to young people and trying to get them engaged, but also where there are potentially young people with knives, to try and get those knives off them. But I think that we do need to ensure that the community is involved in these things. And I think that it's not just about councils, actually. Community groups need to be strong. Churches and faith groups need to play a part. Local youth organisations, whether it's the Scouts or local bands, whatever it might be, we need to reignite that sort of community spirit in all of our towns and cities across the country.
Well, it's interesting that you mention youth services and some of those community things, because we are actually moving on. Stay with us, Maurice, because as we have been discussing, one of the contributing factors in the rise in knife crime in the capital has been a reduction in council-funded youth services. New research out this week shows just how deep those cuts have been, and many local authorities say that situation is set to continue. Jessica Ure has this.
New council data presented by Assembly member and leader of the Greens, Sian Berry, shows that money continues to be drawn